Evening all, Daniel Hand, RPG therapist, and it occurred to me last week when I was showing off my new copy of Pirate Borg that it's actually been a good couple of months since I last did a proper Geek-dive video, so I figured I'd better get my act together a little bit and, you know, pull one of these massive books off the shelf and give it the once-over. And being a bit on the busy side at the moment, I knew it would have to be something I could talk about without too much in the way of preparation. And with that in mind, I opted for one of my favorite RPGs to use with clients. It's simple, it's cute, it's client friendly, it's Quest. Now, if I remember correctly, Quest was actually the first RPG I bought after I started using them as part of my client work, and so I was very much on the lookout for something that could do the job that, in my opinion, then as now, D&D just wasn't up to. I forget where I heard about it, but I was immediately enamored of the art style, and as soon as I saw the mechanics, I was hooked. So let me show you why. And here we have it, Quest by the Adventure Guild LLC. I know I harp on about covers every time, but I adore the art in this book, and this cover just this cover is Quest, so just soak it up, enjoy it, love the magic, love the variety, the inclusivity, the wild beasts hanging in the background. Just I love this book so much. Um, Nice end papers as well. I mean, it's becoming standard in a lot of modern RPGs to use the end papers for lists and roll tables. So does that mean that this was a missed opportunity when it was made? Maybe, but it's who cares? It's nice. Nice little intro there. Huge font. The rest of the book isn't necessarily this size font, but as you'll see, it is all extremely easy to read. A very minimalist contents page, and this my favorite page in the entire book. Just the art is just wonderful in this book, and just yeah, I could look at this all day. It's fantastic. Just yeah. In fact, when I say I could look at it all day, I frequently do look at it. Just pull it out of the put it off the shelf just to gaze at the beauty of it and the adventure, and just yeah. So I'm going to stop. Standard introduction to what RPGs are, how they differ from games, etc. Again, as you'll notice, very easy to read. There's a lot of white space, but it's white space that serves the purpose rather than wastes, if that makes sense. The whole thing just feels beginner friendly and young people friendly, albeit with somebody smashing a bear's face off with a nice hammer. Again, just continuing to say how RPGs work. Again, great art. Mentions distances, but this is a very theater of the mind game. So, okay, yeah, the distances are mentioned, but you can take or leave pretty much anything you want. This, though, is pretty much the only page in Quest that you have to be familiar with. I mean, obviously, it's got stuff like character creation later on, but that one player at the table needs to know their character creation, and that's it. This is everything, and look how simple it is. You roll 1d20, compare the result to this page. That is how well or poorly your character behaves. No modifiers, no rolling with advantage or disadvantage. You come up against a situation, grab your d20, roll it, and this is it. If you think that sounds amazing, you will love Quest. If you think that sounds too simple, you'll hate it. You can make your mind up about this game from that page. And the rest of this flip through is going to be fairly academic. Has little things like hit points, but these are, again, fairly low numbers. You begin with 10 hit points rather than, I don't know, however many D&D gives you. And, you know, you'll never go up to a couple of hundred hit points. Yeah, again, starts off, now that you've got the core mechanics out of the way, it goes on to the game's major focus, which is the story. So it's talking about, you know, being aware of who your character is, getting adventure points. These are just basically, there is an equivalent, that I am forget that the word will not come to me, but basically, some special abilities require kind of this meta currency, that was the word, to power them. And you begin with 10 adventure points. You spend adventure points to power certain abilities, and these will go up and down as you use them. And you earn 5 adventure points at the end of each game session. That is also a big thing about this. It looks at the game session as being a contained unit rather than you meet certain milestones before your character progresses. Same with character advancements. In terms of items, it's just assumed you have everything you need, and if you into like things like food and stuff like that, and if you want to get magic weapons or something, then you can trade for it. Again, all very simple, very player friendly. 12 items or fewer. I mean, to me, 12 sounds like quite a lot, but you know, it gives you options. And you know, again, it focuses on the idea that this is a game for new people. You know, as I'm sure you'll agree from the art, it's young people friendly, and it's just saying, you know, be good to each other. This is a game, enjoy it. This is my other favorite page in the book. I just love this spell. I want this spell, this exact spell. I want stats for it. I want a description for it in every single RPG out there. But also just these ruins. What do they mean? Where? Yeah, the wonder and the magic of this art just makes me happy. And here we have the character sheet. As you can see, no stats here. It is entirely story focused. And again, you know, combine that with the single D20 mechanic. If you like this, you'll love the game. If you're looking at it and go, nah, you won't like it as much. You've got different roles here. You've got different suggestions for how to fill in these individual parts. So you could just give the sheet to your players and say, well, fill it in as you like, or if you like, you can help them go through some of these later pages to help them fill it in. Makes a point of saying that your characters are vulnerable in some areas. They're not just superhuman killing machines. Talks about giving yourself some gear. And yeah, pretty much that's it before you get to the individual classes. It's got this little page on the Omniverse here, and this to me feels a bit, I don't know, out of kilter with the rest of the book, because this page feels quite specific. This feels like the writers were setting up kind of an expanded universe And there is indeed a pre-made adventure that you can find on their website. I think it is, yeah, adventure.game, www.adventure.game. I forget what it's called. But basically you arrive here, I think, and you go up to the castle and fight. I think it's the Trickster. I think that's the bad guy's name. But this is all we get for this world and this omniverse, and I don't. To me, it feels unfinished. To me, it feels like we could do with a bit more in this. I don't know if more's coming, but if you're looking for a pre-made world, at the moment, this combined with the pre-written adventure is all you've got. When it comes to the individual character classes, basically you choose what you want. You've got fighter, you've got invoker, you've got rangers. You've got a fair few to choose from, naturalist. But they all work the same. You basically choose which one you want, often based on that picture, and you've got a series of kind of styles of that character that you can choose. You can level up in any single one of these whenever you choose, but you've got to go in order. So if you wanted to level up in dueling, you've got to do counterattack, then wild attack, then overpower. But you could do counterattack, then provoke, then intercept, and then wild attack, or camaraderie, leadership, just any number of combinations. But that is really it, and you've got your legendary capabilities here, and that is it. That is the same for every single class. You've got fighting techniques here, you've got spell-based techniques here, survival, and again, it is all just, it's beautifully simple. And as you can see, there are a lot to choose from, and because the paper is nice and sturdy, it does take up quite a lot of space. The wizard, is that it? Yeah, there we go. So that's it. All of that is just for your individual characters. But again, even then, once you've chosen your character, it's just a couple of pages. So beautifully simple. Again, just so easy to read. It doesn't overpower the senses. The art is just adorable. I love it. Oh yeah, it's got a ribbon bookmark, but I don't think I've ever used it because again, it's a very easy book to flip through. And chaos. Who doesn't love a bit of chaos? After that, it's just your simple GM stuff. So it's called the GM the Guide here. Gives you some advice on how to support the players, putting boundaries in place. Stop sign, basically your X card. And much like the character sheet was very story focused, so is kind of, as it says, the big scene for what the story is going to be. This is essentially the opening monologue that you offer the players, or for our case, the clients. Just fill it in, read it through, give them the adventure hook, and you're away. And again, with such a sweet, easy to remember dice mechanic, along with their character focused character sheet, their story focused character sheet, beg your pardon. This is kind of the mirror opposite of the 4-page long math based character sheet and form filling that you need for a huge number of RPGs these days. And much like with the character sheet, it just gives you all of the suggestions you want. Again, you can either fill it out entirely from your own imagination, or you can use these as hints. Some lovely adventure hooks here, which also give you a feel for the level that it's aiming for as a fiction. I don't know, the children. As they enter a rarely visited frontier town, the party notices something strange. There are no adults anywhere, only children. Or the nameless star. The party overhears a group of townspeople talking. Rumors are that a star fell from the sky a week ago, and people who have gone looking for it have not yet returned. We're not talking bloody murders going through city streets here. Again, I'm sure you could use this game to play that scenario, but it is very much focused on a lighter style of play. Some really good prompts and suggestions on how to run adventures. Again, clues, giving hints, right? Because I'm sure a lot of us who DM games know that getting players to follow clues can be challenging at times. So any information is good, really. And just the advice just carries on. It's just to labor the point, all extremely beginner friendly, and that extends to the GM, or for our purposes, the therapist, as well as the player/client. So if you like the look of this as a therapist, somebody starting out in your RPG therapy journey, Quest. And as your story carries on, it gives you ideas on how to search through NPC templates. Yeah, this is the chap you fight in the online adventure they offer. You've got different levels of bosses. Again, as you'll notice, the hit points and the attacks are much lower than you might expect in, for example, D&D. Very easy to read features. Advice for long-term play. Just it's the problem with looking through a game like this is all I'm doing, if I'm trying to show you, is just repeat what the title of the page is, because it is dead simple, and that is its wonder and its delight. It also has a list of magic items, and these are adorably bonkers. I mean, Brel's tent in a tin, a colourful tin canister that's magically pressurized. When you unlock the canister and set it on the ground, the lid blows off a few moments later, deploying a large magic tent that can fit 30 people. Sound cannot escape the inside of the tent. A switch on the side of the tin teleports the tent back inside and closes the lid. Just cute and child-friendly and lovely. And obviously you've got different strengths. You've got rare, legendary, etc. And that's pretty much the remainder of the book. And even a lovely note to say thanks for reading. I mean, come on, guys. A quick reference at the back, but again, that's all you need to remember. Everything else, these are to help you remember the combat, hit points and damage, taking turns when you're fighting. Oh, one thing I should mention. So whenever you go into combat, there's no rolling for initiative. The player goes first, then the NPC, the enemy. Again, distances, but that's relative according to the theatre of the mind that you're playing. Just wonderful. Just a lovely book. That's Quest. So then, Quest in RPG therapy? Absolutely. No question about it. As far as I'm concerned, this is pretty much a perfect RPG for our purposes. It's about as beginner friendly as it's possible to get in terms of both mechanics and presentation. It's very difficult to get lost in this book. The game is easy to run, easy to maintain, thanks to things like the simple progression tree and the fact that there are so few moving parts to keep track of. The paperwork is kept really to a minimum. And this lets your focus be where it belongs, on your client. You don't need to flip through the book to find some esoteric, unintelligible rule. Everything boils down to a simple die roll. And because the mechanics are so simple,
everything else becomes easier to process and remember as well. You can put this game down, not come back to it for several weeks, and yet still know everything you need to know to carry on. As systems go, this is sublime. The gentle tone throughout the book really is lovely, and it goes out of its way to teach you how to play an RPG, both as a player and as a GM, rather than just present you with a bunch of rules. Quest really does shine with younger clients. I also love how story focused the game is right off the bat. Character creation is all about the narrative, not the numbers. I said in my review of the Marvel Multiverse role playing game that it really wasn't a game for clients with dyscalculia. Quest really is. And in fact, you could probably create your own symbol based die. Blank dies are easily available these days, and remove numbers from this game entirely. That said, for some clients, this becomes a bit of a drawn out process simply because it puts a fair amount of pressure on their own creativity, and it's just a fact of life that a huge proportion of people believe they are inherently uncreative. So, character creation might take a little bit of patience to get through, even with the plethora of options the book presents. By and large, though, just look at it. The charm of this system is that it encourages imagination over maths and gives everyone several tools with which to tell their story. Again, this gives us, the therapists, more space in our brains to see to our clients' needs. Easily my favorite thing about this book, though, is its presentation. I love this art so much. Every now and again, I grab it off the shelf just to look at it. It's inclusive, it's magical, it's evocative, it's cartoony, it's gentle. It manages to be adventurous without being threatening. There's so much character in these pictures, life. And I love it so much. I wish I could have some of these images just so I could hang them on my wall. It speaks to me in a way that RPG art seldom does, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who feels that way. Downsides? Well, for one, Quest might be a bit too simplistic for some clients, especially if they already have some knowledge of even just the more obvious TTRPGs. I've personally had tons of fun with Quest with clients of all experience levels, but people who might like their games to be a little crunchier, maybe have more in the way of tactical combat or a clearer set of options for various situations, may be a little underwhelmed. Some people just like long lists of skills to refer to in game, and they just won't find that here. The other issue that niggles at me every time I run a game of Quest is just how little world building or world building advice there is here. Many RPGs come packaged with a pre-made setting for you to set your games in, or else contains countless little bits of information you can use to create your worlds, along with advice on how to do so. Quest, however, really doesn't give you much to work with. Sure, there's mention of an omniverse, but if anything, that only serves to muddy the waters somewhat. To my mind, world building in RPGs is one of those things where you're either all in or you're all out. Give your readers and players something to work with, descriptions of locations, characters, plot hooks, or just give them the tools they need to go out and either find or design their own. The best RPGs, of course, do both. Looking at you, Knights Black Agents. But Quest's half hearted attempt at world building really feels, for want of a better word, unfinished. Like the authors wanted to do more but then never got around to it. So be aware going in that you and your client will have to put in a bit of creative elbow grease, not just when it comes to their character, but with the setting and obstacles too. Sure, the free adventure gives you something, but even that feels a bit disconnected from, well, anything else. Other than that, though, I really can't recommend Quest highly enough. If you're a practitioner who is just starting out in this modality and are looking for a nice, simple way to ease yourself into using RPGs with your clients, do yourself a favor and buy this book. You won't regret it. So, that's my take on Quest, a lovely little game that really does ease you into the role playing hobby. How about yourselves? Have you ever played Quest? How did you find the experience? Let us know in the comments below. While you're down there, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. You'll also find links to my own book, Role Playing Games and Psychotherapy, A Practitioner's Guide, and to my practice website, Monomyth Counseling. If you or someone you know needs a counsellor, push them my way. Everyone, as usual, thank you so much for watching this video. I really look forward to speaking with you again next week. So until then, take it easy, don't do anything I wouldn't do, and have a good one. Cheers.